I honestly feel like this is so dark. Like, I have to lean forward. And I don't want to lean forward. I want to freaking sit. Like, sit. Okay, so I've tried to film this like so many times sitting back and being comfortable, but look how dark it makes my face. So I just have to lean forward, I think. Anyways, what's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Zoe Rose here, and Burrito is sitting under there somewhere. If it's your first time here, hello, welcome. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you like what you see. What I wanted to talk about today is something that I think is super important to get back to the basics, and something that is going to be really essential once we get back to reopening in the beauty service industry in general, not just hair, but that's going to be my main go-to topic is hair, because that's what I do. But this definitely applies to any massage, aesthetics, lashes, things like that. Any sort of service provider should take this into consideration. I am huge on always remembering the basics of consultation. So consultation is something that's going to be very, very important in any service, and it's going to make or break you for the duration of the service. You could do a killer haircut, but if you don't ask the right questions, or if you don't listen to the answers given to you, you might do a very good technical haircut, but it might not be what the client wants, or it might not be how they expected it. So I think consultation is something that's huge to always remember when it comes to your clients. Another thing that I want to discuss today is going to be, when we get back into reopening, how to gracefully transition back into that, because it's going to be different. It's not going to be the normal that we're used to, and it's going to be very busy, and we're going to want to be able to service a lot of people every single day. But I'm going to talk a little bit about why I don't think it's going to be a good idea to overwork yourself and to slam your books full. And I want to get into a little bit of that kind of discussion, because I think it's something that's super important and needs to be talked about. So today I'm going to start with the whole consultation topic. I think it's so important to focus on what your guest wants. They're in your chair to see you, but it's not about you, right? It's not about us. We're service providers at the end of the day. Yes, we are very skilled technicians. We are artists. We are trendsetters, and people do come to us for advice, and they come to us with questions, and it is our job to provide answers to that and suggestions and encourage change and inspire. However, it is not our job to do whatever we want because we think that's what the client should have. So consultation is very important, and it's very important to remove yourself and remove your ego from it. It is our job to advise the guest what might be best for them. Maybe they have a cowlick and they can't have a certain haircut, or maybe they have a certain color hair and it's going to be impossible to lift it to what they want in one sitting. Those type of things aren't what I'm really discussing. What I'm wanting you guys to focus on is understanding that first 5 or 10 minutes with your guest, whether they're new or whether they've been with you for years, it's crucial to providing a good service. If you aren't asking the right questions and you're not listening to the answers and then making sure you guys are on the same page, you're not gonna have a quality service, and that could be what either helps them decide to return or helps them decide not to return. And it's something that's so easy to do properly, and all it takes is an extra maybe 5 minutes, if that, and sometimes there's clients that you might need 10 or 15 minutes, and that's fine, because at the end of the day, it's going to save you having to redo the service, or having an unhappy client, or really not knowing certain things, and it could have been avoided if you would have asked in the first place. So something that I think I hear a lot of in consultations that I think is the worst possible thing you could hear is same as last time, or all right, the usual. And that leaves no room for the client to potentially say no, because they don't want to hurt our feelings, or they don't feel brave enough to maybe speak up and say, actually, I saw this thing and I kind of want to try it. By saying same as last time, or not offering the opportunity for change, you are completely nixing any chance that you might be giving them the best hair they've ever had, or that they've always wanted. So where you have those clients that they probably never want to change it, that's okay. But the second you don't ask is the second you're taking away their chance to ask for something different. So I always think it's very important to make sure and check in with your guests, like, did you like everything that we did last time? How did it work out? And ask those questions that are kind of open-ended, because if you ask yes or no questions, that completely halts the conversation. So if it's a new client, you kind of have more information to ask them and more information to kind of pull from them. But if it's a client you see every 4 weeks, it does get easy to fall into the habit of just mixing up their color as you're talking to them. And I think that's a huge injustice to your client. And I know that sounds kind of dramatic, but they come to you as a professional to give them the best advice and to, get ideas and things like that. So it's important for us to encourage change and to inspire people to change, and getting back into the salon after not having seen our guests for months is going to be the perfect opportunity to suggest something new. But there's a way to do it gracefully, and there's a way to suggest change in a realistic manner. Maybe somebody that comes in for a tint touch-up all the time is having trouble blending their grays, or they're seeing their regrowth a lot sooner and they don't like it. So you could suggest in that time, well, why don't we pop a few highlights, around the hairline or through the part, and that can kind of break up what you already have going on. And then we can we can do that every other time. So it's not a huge upkeep for that. We can just kind of bring in a little bit of brightness around the face where you're seeing those grays and blend it out. The worst they can say is no. The worst they can say is, not today. Or they can say yes. Or if they say no, maybe next time, now that you've planted that seed, they'll want to try it out. So little things like that to suggest change don't have to be a completely dramatic overhaul of a brand new color or a brand new cut. It can just be slight things that maybe will take an extra 10 or 15 minutes. So rolling into the topic of timing when it comes to offering or suggesting something new, and tying that into my next topic in regards to coming back to the salon after having been locked down, is I would highly, highly advise not to book yourself so jam-packed that you can't give the proper attention to each and every client. And I understand some of you might not have the control over your books, but I think it's super important for us, whether you're independent or not, to make sure that you're still providing the same stellar experience that you were before, and actually probably even a little bit better experience. It shouldn't be the same as before, it should be better. It's going to be difficult because we're going to have a lot of new regulations that we have to implement, and we're going to have a lot of things that are going to be different. We're not going back to the normal salon that we left. Nothing is going to be normal anymore, right? So it's super important, I think, to take the time to understand that going back to being double booked, triple booked, back to back on 45-minute, blocks, that's not going to happen. And it shouldn't happen, because there's a big risk on a health front of just immediately going back into that. But also, there's a huge risk in disconnecting with your client. And what I mean by that is we're coming back from being months away from our guests, right? So if you're slammed booked back to back, you're going to be rushing. You're going to be neglecting the little things, right? So it's super important, I think, to give yourself the time. If you're booking 45 minutes for a haircut, you should probably book an hour coming back from this quarantine, because you're going to be dealing with, one, a lot more hair, right? There's more regrowth, there's more whatever, whether it's a haircut, color, extensions, whatever you're doing, you're dealing with different hair that you were left with that was on a system, right? That's one scenario. Another scenario is they colored their hair at home. Maybe somebody else went to their house and did their color because you weren't offering that service. Maybe they went and bought a box color. Maybe they got something online. So you're dealing with that as well. And there's no shame in doing that. It's your hair, you guys own it, do whatever you need to do. But there's an opportunity for us to understand that we are dealing with extra time. We're dealing with something different than what we were dealing with before. So it's really important that we make sure we have an ample amount of time to deal with these things. Another thing that I really want you guys to be mindful of when coming back is making sure that first 5-10 minutes, maybe even 15, is solely for your consultation. It's going to be very difficult to not try to use that time to catch up with your guests that you haven't seen in a long time. And I understand that is why they come to us. They love us, we love them, we want to know, we care. But it's super, super crucial to make sure you're using your time wisely. You have a whole hour, 2 hours, 2.5, whatever, depending on the service, to connect with them and to catch up. Don't use that first 10-15 minutes to catch up and to start talking about what's been going on. Use that time to talk about their hair, talk about what they've been doing to it, what they've noticed, what they want to do, what their goals are with their hair. It's very, very important within that first 5-10 minutes to really nail that down. Get on the same page, start the service, then get into whatever you're going to talk about. And this goes across the board, regardless of quarantine or not. That first little segment of time is your opportunity, whether it's a brand new guest or whether it's a returning guest, to really nail that service. And especially when you haven't seen someone in a long time, it's easy to fall into a conversation really quickly, but it's super important to understand that that time is crucial and it's going to make or break the service. So please, please, please think about that when you're booking out your clients. You want to make sure you have enough time to do a really good, thorough consultation with them. You want to make sure that you've discussed everything they've done to their hair during quarantine, whether it's box color, cut it themselves, or whether it's nothing. Maybe they didn't wash it at all. Maybe they didn't heat style it, whatever. Regardless, get it all out on the table. Figure out what they've been doing the last few months and go from there. This is your opportunity to talk about, maybe they want to change something. Maybe they want to try something else new. Maybe they've noticed X, Y, and Z about their hair, you know? It's all super important to get that hashed out in the first consultation coming back from the quarantine. And making sure you have enough time to do that and to connect with your clients is going to ensure that you're giving them the same awesome experience that they are used to. Look, at the end of the day, we're service providers. We are here for our clients. We are here because of our clients. We wouldn't be here without them. So if you get so rushed and so freaked out that you're not going to make any money or you're not going to be able to get all your clients in, whatever it is, and then you get burnt out and you start hating doing hair, that doesn't do anybody any good. So it's super important to make sure that you're being mindful of that. You know, we've been out of work for months. I get it. I want to get back to work as soon as possible. I miss my 14-hour days. That's how I operate. Sitting for the majority of the day is driving me absolutely crazy. But I understand that there's no way that we are going to go back to what was normal. Our new normal is going to be so far from what it was before. So you kind of have to just lean into that and accept it, because it's just what we have to do. And who knows for how long? Maybe it will always be a precaution we have to take. And you never know. Maybe your clients won't feel comfortable being double booked anymore. Maybe they won't feel comfortable coming back to a big, busy salon. So that's also something you guys really have to think about is, you know, for me, I feel very fortunate that I'm in a smaller suite situation because I can control who's in my studio and who's not. I can control how many people are in there. If you're in a big salon, you might not be able to control that. So it's something to really think about and make sure that you're providing that stellar service for your clients, because you need to be checking in and making sure that they're comfortable and that they're feeling valued and they're feeling supported in whatever is going on. So there might be clients that are nervous to come back to a salon setting. There are clients that might not be able to because maybe they have a health risk. Maybe they have somebody in their family that is at risk. And you have to be mindful that as much as you think you're doing whatever you can, it might not be enough for someone. So you really have to make sure you're providing that stellar experience and give them a reason to want to come back. Ensure them that you're taking all the proper precautions, that you're cleaning everything properly as you were before, but now even to an elevated standard. Do everything possible to provide a killer experience because that's what we're here for, right? We're here to provide awesome service to our guests, and we're here to make them feel and look beautiful. That all boils down to an awesome consultation, awesome communication, and a killer experience. So if you're not providing these things for them, they have no reason to come back to you. And that's regardless of quarantine or not. So think about that the next time you're behind the chair, the next time you're planning getting behind the chair, is what am I doing to provide a killer experience? So some things that I want you guys to think about is, what does that mean to you? What does providing an amazing experience mean for you behind the chair? Maybe you're independent, maybe you are a business owner, right? Or maybe you're not and you have to follow a certain set of rules that your boss puts out for you. So regardless of where you stand in line of all those things, you are your own brand. You're the reason your clients come to you, right? So I want you guys to make a list of steps you can take to prepare yourself for getting back behind the chair that is going to elevate your experience. Maybe even write down what you were already doing, right? So write down the steps that you were already taking to provide a solid experience for your clients, and jot down 5 or 10 things. If you can't, then that's also kind of something that might awaken you to maybe what you should be doing. And when I say that, I don't mean to be throwing shade or being an asshole, but if you're having trouble maybe keeping clients, you're having trouble with people returning or getting new clients or things like that, it might be something that you're doing or not doing that isn't giving people a reason to come back to you. So that could be anything from what you do in the salon to what you do on your social media to how you communicate with your clients in and out of the salon. That's something I really want you guys to think about. So you're gonna have your list of things that you were already doing pre-quarantine. Figure out what those are. You know, I offer beverages, I send out confirmation, texts, emails, calls, whatever it is. Checking in with clients when you change their hair. So maybe you did a dramatic haircut, texting them a couple days later and asking, you know, how they like it, how it's been styling, whatever. Pre-booking, offering at home, recommendations for at-home care. So list these things that you were already doing before quarantine happened. Now what I want you to do is make a list of things that you can do better or that you can elevate to really amp up your experience. And some of these things you might be able to do now. So what can you do better? What are you going to continue doing? What are you going to maybe stop doing? And what are you going to start doing? So what is that saying? I know a lot of businesses do it, like start, stop, continue, or start, stop, something. There's like something that people write. Like, what are you doing that you're going to continue doing? What are you doing that you're going to stop doing? And what are you going to start doing? So these are things that I think it's up to you. And it's up to you to decide what you could be doing better. It's up to you to decide what is maybe not necessary. And all of this is going to be in line with the new regulations. So I read somewhere that I think Georgia or Texas, one of the places that just recently reopened, I saw something about not being able to have a self-serve coffee station anymore, not being able to serve those like beverages that maybe you're doing reusable cups or whatever. That might not be allowed anymore. And that's something that's a huge service to your clients that adds that extra touch. So if you can't offer that anymore, what are you going to do to maybe replace that until we're allowed to offer those same things that we used to? So there's going to be plenty of things that maybe you haven't thought about, maybe you forgot to continue giving your business card out to everybody that you see, right? That's a huge, huge thing. Give them one for themselves, one to give away. Maybe you aren't taking pictures of every client that comes through the door, or maybe you've run out of time to take pictures or things like that. Maybe you aren't doing the little different things that can elevate your service and elevate the experience there. I want you guys to take this time while you aren't working behind the chair and you aren't focusing on servicing your clients necessarily in this moment, to think about how else you can provide an awesome service. And I think it's very impressive and it's awesome that so many people are continuing their education during this time. And I think that's amazing, but it's also something that you have to think about the basics. It doesn't matter if you can do an amazing balayage if you can't have a conversation with your client about what they want. It doesn't matter if you can, do whatever crazy new haircutting or color technique that you saw on Instagram last week. It doesn't matter if you can do that and if you learn that. If you are running 15 minutes behind because you've jam-packed your schedule and you're running behind for every single client that you see, and you're not providing an amazing service that makes them feel valued and makes them feel like you're focusing on them. So little things like that are going to be very, very important to continuing business with grace in this predicament that we're in of not having been able to see our clients for months. I know it's important that we see all of them as fast as we can, and everybody's beating down our door to be first on our list of people to get rebooked, but it's also super important that you are taking care of yourself and making sure that you're not getting burnt out and making sure that you're taking the proper precautions to keep yourself healthy as well as your clients. If you're rushing and you have multiple people back to back, there's no way you're properly sanitizing your items. There's no way that you're making sure you're eating and drinking water and taking care of yourself. And by the end of that day, you're going to feel like shit. And the next day, when you have to do it all over again, your energy is going to be at a minimum and your clients are going to notice. And you should be at your best when you come back and when you see your clients. And that's only up to you. I would love it if you guys commented with, that little task that I kind of put forward. I want to know what you guys are going to start, stop, and continue. I want to know how you plan on elevating your experience behind the chair. And clients also, I would love it if you guys chimed in. What are your opinions about all this? Are you comfortable going back into the salon right away? Are you okay with being double booked maybe and having a lot of people in the salon? I'm interested because the way I see it is going to be different from the way a lot of other people see it. And the service I provide is very different from the service that you guys might be providing. So I'm interested and I'm curious as to what you guys plan on doing. And I'm curious to see if this is something that people have given thought. And if it's not, I think it's important that you do give it some thought. And I think it's a really important time to be mindful about the type of service we're going to provide moving forward. Are you going to be the exact same as you were when you left the salon and now you're coming back the exact same and providing the same service? Or are you going to be coming back better and coming back like a 2.0 version of yourself? So just something to kind of think about and something I've been spending a lot of time thinking about. Focus on what you can do to be better and what you can do to grow and what you can do to grow your business. And I know it's stressful right now and there's a lot of things that are out of our control and there's a lot of things that we don't know, but there's also a lot of things that we can control and there's a lot of things that we can start and there's a lot of things that maybe didn't matter that now you're realizing don't matter. So I think it's important to kind of reflect on that and see how you can change your business. Because at the end of the day, building your brand is up to you. It's not up to anybody else. And what a great time to learn a new skill or to put something into practice because everything's going to be different. So take that as a positive opportunity to change things. It doesn't have to be a negative. It doesn't have to be scary. I think it's something that I don't know, I think it's a cool opportunity. I mean, encourage change in your clients, encourage change in yourself, and I think it could be rad. So on that note, I hope you guys are having a lovely day. I don't know what day it is. Wednesday? What? I honestly have no idea. I think it's Wednesday. Hope you guys are having a good day, and I hope you guys are being chill to yourself. I have some days where I've worked out twice, I've gone outside, I drank a smoothie, I ate all my veggies, and I, made a YouTube video and posted things and contacted clients and blah, blah, blah. And then I've had days where I sit in bed and I don't want to move and I eat tater tots for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And both are fine. So be gentle with yourselves and know that if you're not constantly grinding, that's fine. And if you are constantly grinding because you hate being at home and you hate not being busy, that's totally fine too, because I'm there with you. Don't let anybody invalidate your feelings about whatever it is that you're going through, because this is all of our first time dealing with this shit, and this is all of our first time getting through it. So, whatever you got to do to get through it, do you. I mean, if you're drinking more than normal, maybe like have a glass of water between each drink and kind of balance that out. But other than that, make good choices. So thank you guys for showing up and listening. And if you guys, I posted about this on my Instagram, but I'm thinking about offering maybe small batch Zoom classes, and it can be discussion based, it can be hands-on, it can be kind of whatever. So if you guys are interested in that, please let me know what topics you'd want to discuss. Maybe if you want to hop on, we can get together a Zoom class and I guess a Zoom discussion and talk about this topic and what we think is going to happen from here on out and what we want to see. I don't know. I'm up for it. I would love to connect with you guys. So comment below if you guys have any ideas or anything that you guys want to hear my opinion on. Yeah, I appreciate you and I hope you guys are doing great. Stay hydrated.